So this is the Kiwi holiday case. For sake of time, I'll assume that y'all read the instructions yourselves, but pretty much the data is family trying to go on vacation. You have to consider attributes of the different destinations and distances between them and so forth. So first, I wanted to start off with these bonuses because they aren't relative to levels, and I like to do that first so don't forget about them and lose extra points. Um, and so there's three tabs. We'll take a look at them. Destinations and their attributes, families and their favorite attributes, and then distances. So when I see that there's a lot of tables and different sheets, I like to go ahead and set this up. It'll just take a couple extra seconds. So I do Control T to make it a table, and then Alt MN to take me to Name Manager. And then I'll just click enter, and then I'll name this dest, something I can easily type in. And you'll see later where this comes in handy. So this one too. Control T, okay. Alt MN, enter, bam. Okay, and then this last big one here. Control T, okay. Alt MN, enter, and then this list distances, so we'll do test. Close. Okay, now back to the start. What is the maximum distance in kilometers between destinations listed in the distances tab? So we can just do this whole array. You don't want that. Max dist 1796. Um, Using the data in and so what, for explanation, what this did is it just took the max of this whole array here, which is named dist. Using the data in the destinations tab, which attribute has the greatest score across all destinations. So which attribute has the greatest score across all these destinations? We'll sum all these. Okay, this is the one problem with naming it, is that it doesn't track through right. This is like a one-off situation. So we got the sum of all these. What was the question again? Which attribute has the greatest attribute score? So I'll do an X lookup max. So take the max of these numbers. Out of this whole array, and go return which attributes. Yes, climate. So I like to Control C to make sure, and then Control Shift V, paste as values to make sure I spell something wrong. You don't want to lose points that way. Okay. Using the data in the families tab, how many times does the most frequent attribute appear among the favorite attributes listed by the family? So let's go to families. Let's just do unique of all these attributes. Sorry, my computer wasn't working, so I'm using a friend's one. The keyboard's a little different. There we go. Do a count if. So this whole range out of here, count how many times climate shows up. And so the largest one is 10. Yeah, how many times is the most? So that's going to be a number. It's 10. Okay, now let's get actually started. What's the greatest attribute for each destination? Should just be a max here. Let's double check here. And that's the same number when I paste it there. I just copied that all the way down there. Okay, what is the average drive time in minutes from the start city to the end of the listed destination? So it seems like we're just getting the average and then doing some calculations to make it from average kilometers to minutes. So start off with average, 322, but this is in kilometers, so 80 kilometers per hour. So we'll divide by 80. And then I will also need to multiply by 60. Also went around. A lot of wrapping here. And then so we'll do 0 because we don't want any decimal. I'm gonna mess up here. Okay. Average. Did not need to have an extra one here. Don't need that there either. What is up? Let's do this over. Average. We divide it by 80. And then we'll grab all of that times 60. Zero. Finally. Okay, and that worked. Okay. What are the attribute scores for the following attributes and destinations? So destination attribute. So obviously I like X lookup instead of index match, but in this case, an index match will be good because we need to find, say, like Queenstown to culture. We need to find this 3. So we'll do an index, and then this is where it's helpful. So this was the destination. So all I have to do is write dest, and that takes the whole array. And then we need to do X match for the row. So this will be our lookup value destination. And then again, we don't have to go to the other page. We can just do dest, open bracket. And then this is, it's going to take that first column, which is the destination. So you do tab and then close bracket. And then close that parentheses to close out the X match and then on to the next. So X match, and then we'll get the attribute. And then dest again, open bracket. And then you can do all the headers here and just type in headers. Little hack. And then close that, and close it one more time. And that gives us 5. That gives us that right answer. So that should be right. Okay. What is the total attribute score for the respective families and their destination? So this looks like it has a lot of steps. So when it's a lot of steps, I like to make this on the side. And set up a little model thing to where we can just work the run problem and then do a data table to get the answers for all the rest. So you'll see how that is. Pick example 4, grab that there, grab all this. So here we have that Auckland and Baton. Okay, so let's find the top 4 attributes for each family. So I'm just gonna label this. It's like 4 columns, 1 through 4. This is just like organization purposes. They're 1 through 4. And I'll do now X lookup, Baton, then out of, and so this one's using fam. Out of fam, we went all the different families. But then since this is returning more than one column. Sometimes this whole uh, sorry. Sometimes this whole trick that I have, it's probably just easier just to grab this whole thing. Because you'll see here that it's like it would be longer to type out the first and then the colon through the fourth. But if once you get used to it, then it might be faster. But if you're new to it, then it's easier to just grab that in that situation. Anyways, so those are their top four attributes. And so the top four attributes gets these certain weightings. So the first one is 100, then it's 90. So I'm going to do this by like 1 and 0.9. I'm just going to do 1 minus 0.1. I can just 0.9, drag that over 0.8, 0.7, and that falls through. But then the rest gets 40. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab all of the attributes here. And then to it, for instance, attractions lines up well with 1, but climate doesn't add up with safety. So we want to give safety over here 0.9. We want to give attractions over here 1, but we want to give the rest of these, other than affordability and climate, it says all the others 40%. So we'll do X lookup for all of these. And then it's coming out of here. I would absolutely reference that so it doesn't follow the other ones. Coming out of here. And so you'll see once I do this, it has NA for the rest. That's not. So you do another part. And so for the if not found, you do 0.4. And there are 0.4 updates for all the rest of them. And so I believe the next will just be a sum product. Oh, wait, nope, not yet. We want to find the actual attributes of all of these for the destination. Yeah. So we'll do X lookup. Do that. No, destination, destination, and then all these attributes. There we go. Now some product. And then we also went around this. Sometimes, there we go. Sometimes wrapping, even though it's not good to use your keyboard, sometimes if you're wrapping, it might just be easier to use it there. And so now this is the first time this demonstration that we use this, but if y'all don't know how to do a data table like this yet, you do sequence. So this is 20 rows. So we'll do 20. It's only one column, so you can skip over that. It'll automatically just do one column. And it starts at 41. So that's going to give 41 through 60 here. You see that's 41 through 60. And then you want to highlight it all, and then the shortcut is Alt W T. And then the column input is example 4, and that gives all the answers for the rest. And I'll do Control Shift V. Okay, how long in minutes does it take to travel from one destination to another, including ferry rides, which is 3.5 hours, but ignoring customs? Okay, so let's set this up kind of how we did before. I like to narrow the top level so we can start. So I can kind of copy and paste these formulas. But change this to 5. And there we go. It gives us Auckland and Nelson. And so Okay, distance between the two. How does this table look? Looks like we'll do another index match. Dist, index, dist, comma, x match. And then, oh, and how I'm choosing this out of this list instead of using my mouse and clicking it, you just, once it's highlighted in that blue, you just tab and it'll automatically fill out. And so look at value Auckland, comma, dist, open brackets, column 1, close, X match, Nelson, just keep doing this, open brackets, and then just do all the headers for this. So this is taking the first column. This is taking all the first row. Yes. Okay, so distance between them is 845. We want that in hours. So 845 divided by 80, because 80 kilometers per hour. And we don't want to round until the final result, by the way. And so Auckland's, so now we have to talk about ferry rides. So there's only a ferry if they're in different islands. So if we go back to here, here's where the islands were. So they're either on the north or the south island. So I'll grab this north island. Put this to the side here. Might as well just go ahead and make it a table. And enter north. Okay, now that's a table. So if we need that multiple times, that's good. And that only took a couple seconds. Okay, so island question mark. So a way to see if something is in a list, you could do X match, X look array. Instead of grabbing that, you can just do, if I can spell it right, north tab. So that gave me a number 2 if it's in it, but like Nelson's not in it, so that's a NA. So we could do an if statement with is number as the logical part. So if there's a number, so if is number equals true, then it's in the north. And if not, it will be in the south. Makes sense? Yep. Another nice thing about tables is that it'll always grab from it. So it's kind of like an automatic absolute reference. So I'll just do ferry. If this equals this, then there's no ferry ride, so it'll be 0. But if they don't equal each other, it's 3.5 hours added. So total time is this plus this. Hours, minutes. Okay. We also know that we're about to round. So we'll do this times 60 for minutes, 0 number of digits, and that's 8.4. And that matches right here. So now we'll just do a quick data table. The answer right there. To the left is sequence or 20 rows. And then it starts at 61. Alt AWT. Column input cell is going to be game on this level. Control Shift V. And that all fills out. Okay, level 6. What are the total attribute scores for the following destinations and for each minute spent traveling to the destination, that total attribute score is reduced by 0.01. You also have to go through customs, which takes 2 hours. So it seems like we're combining 4 and 5. No, go back here. Nope. Grab this so we can just set this up. So I'll go ahead and scroll back up to 4 and highlight everything that there you go, that we just did. What? Okay, there we go. One thing about copy and pasting this stuff is I just do F2 and I go through it. I make sure nothing's absolute reference from a past level. And here, this one's absolute reference. So we'll just flip this over. So taking all of these and grabbing it from this array, having it that as the output, and then if not, what L4, close out. Just grabbing from the right thing. Okay, the rest is good. So this is our attribute score. Okay, so now let's do this part to get those minutes again. Oh, that's the families. Okay, all families land in Wellington. So I need to do this. And then I'll just type in Wellington. Drag these down. There we go. And again, you see how gotta make sure it's all lining up correctly. So this is checking that one. Hours, ferry, minutes, 5, 6. But we're also doing, see, this is why it's good to read the directions. Also doing customs, which is going to be every time. So +2. Just adding that to the added time. Customs. And then we don't want to round yet because we're not completely done. Because then we have to, so the calculation is take the original attribute score minus the minutes times 0.01. I'll put this to the side here so that the data table that we make doesn't flow through. So attribute minus times 0.01. Oh, around that. To 0. And 22 is our answer. So sequence, how many rows? Started at 81. Alt AWT tab to get column input cell, and then example 6. And these are answers. Should be okay. Level 7. Each one we want to visit a destination with the highest attribute score. Okay, so it looks like we need to do all of this, the combination of those 2 levels before, this all together, but for all of the destinations. Okay, here we go. Just grab all this. Again, just take a little bit. I remember since these had to be absolute reference, we're gonna redo this. So that should update well. Hmm. After accounting for the so it looks like we wanna so we put oh wait, let's delete this. This is tempting. Okay. So delete Wellington because that was just the one off. So we'll get all the headers. All these. So those are all the destinations. So we want the values. So we want to move this over. But keep these islands because we're gonna have to compare those anyways. But the rest are just the calculations we need for each place. Make sure this is pulling from the right. We want to absolute reference Auckland and all these to where it anchors and drags correctly. No, it's down. There we go. Anchor this. And I'm making sure it's all right. We also want the attribute score for all of these too. So I'll just put this here. She'll put it right below. Um, so some product. So it's going to be these weights every time. Then you got to do X lookup. Because we want to find these scores for each destination. So we'll do X lookup this destination. And then we'll, for test, we'll click the destination column. And we'll go through. You see how it's already highlighted right there? We'll go through that whole thing. Because to show you like that, what I just showed you was this exact same formula. You see how it's spread it out like that? Since it's a sum product, we wanted this array. It's like this sum product I'm doing right here is literally just this. But instead of for Auckland, it's for Wangare, or I don't know how to pronounce it. But then we have to do the adjusted. So now it's the attribute score minus minutes times 0.01. Now what we can do that fills out for the rest. Okay, now when we find our answer, so X lookup max. I'm gonna find the max of this because it's whichever one they want and the highest score would be the max. Place, yes, New Plymouth, that matches. But we also want to add, so we're gonna have to do some concatenation. So the ampersand concatenates all together. So quotations say there's no spaces or anything. It's just is a hyphen. Then at, again, it's like the glue that meshes the two stuff together. And then, but it's rounded. So we can just even put round here. Round max. That again. Number digit 0. New Plymouth 30, and that's our answer. So sequence 20 rows started at 1, right? Yeah. Alt AWT, tab that down. Example 7. Control Shift V. Okay, actually, scratch that. One minor thing to change. So I remembered that in these headers, this already includes this, and we wouldn't, for some reason, we say if there was a score, say if Auckland was the highest score, we don't want that to be the answer. So let's, in this final part, say if reference equals this, do 0. We just don't even want to count that as a score. And then if not, which will be most cases, it'll give us our answer. So you see for Auckland now, that's like exited out of the criteria of this. But now 101 is NA. So what's going on? Oh, I accidentally deleted that. Great. But that's not even going to be the answer. So if I do, pretty sure it was Wellington. No, I don't want to take chances. Okay. Well, y'all get the gist. Sorry, I don't have the answer for 101 for you. But those are the rest of the answers. I accidentally deleted that, so that's why it's not coming up. Okay, so that's it for the levels. And then let's finish out these 2 bonuses and then we're done. Which family would enjoy Wellington the most? Use level 4. So bonuses, sometimes I like to just put on a new sheet. Control C. So we'll do Wellington every time and then it changes with the family. Mm. This is the one that needs some adjustment. So let's just get all the families. Families. Let's not keep up here. And then the scores for all the families, all WT. Let's get this, whichever family is the max. Hillary. Hillary. What is the greatest time in minutes to travel between any two destinations? So it's on the right level. I can't believe this went away. Anyways, I'm just gonna do this here because I have a lot of extra room. What is it again? What is the greatest time in minutes to travel between any two destinations? So it's saying like take the max minutes of all of these. If each of all of these destinations here, if we were to go through all of these destinations. So a lot of scenarios and you're taking the max of it. So seems like a lot of steps, but it actually, let's grab all the destinations and just take the max of these minutes. TWT, love data tables. And that took the beginning destination. And then what's the max in here? 16,677. And that's your answer. Okay. So that's it for this case. Hope y'all understood everything.